Okay, good morning, everyone.
Hello. Hello. Hi,
Good morning.
Sam.
Good morning. Yeah, good morning, Jo. Good morning, Stuart. And good morning,
Hi,
everybody
Good morning.
that's arriving. Welcome back, everyone. Another social obsession. We've got a really exciting session today with Jo from the RNIB. And we've had a lot of interest, Jo. We've had over 115 people register for the session, which is
Great.
very good news. Yeah, very good news. And we've already got 62 people in the room.
So no pressure, Jo.
I know. Yeah. Yeah, me and Stuart have got it easy this week.
We have.
We get to just watch and listen. Good. Yeah, welcome everyone. Yeah, lots of you arriving already. Lots of familiar names, lots of new names. Really exciting times for the Social Hub. We've got lots and lots planned this year, and this session today is a real sort of flagship session for us. We've got the RNIB with us, with myself and Stuart Beveridge from Seascape up in Fife. But it's great to have you all with us. For anybody that's brand new, if you've been past this link and you don't have a clue what this is, what you've let yourself in for, this is the Assistive Technology Social Hub with Sight and Sound Technology and Seascape. And this is this platform has been running since March of last year. We meet every other week, every other Thursday at 10 o'clock. And yeah, we explore all areas of assistive technology. And this week we've got a guest. We're not used to having guests, are we, Stuart?
No, but that's where we're trying to take the Social Hub this year, isn't it, Sam? You know, a lot of last year it was, you know, me and you and the other Stuart L, you know, demonstrating a lot of technology. But this year we're trying to take it in a different direction and have a lot more guest speakers. So it's really exciting for me because, you know, as a user of the RNIB Reading Services, I actually do have questions as well. So it's going to be great to actually sit back today and hear all about them from an expert point of view.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And we've actually got lots of questions queued already. I've had here's Paresh as well from the RNIB.
Paresh,
yeah. And we'll let Paresh come in. Morning, Paresh. Oh.
You may need to unmute.
I'm sure John is in a second. Yeah, we've got lots of questions already queued that people have emailed me prior to the session, and I'm sure everybody in the room will have lots of questions as well. Whilst we're on that, as always, we have lots of facilities to be used within Zoom. Along the bottom of your screens, for those of you that can see that, we've got the chat box there, which you can use the keystroke Alt and H if you're using a Windows machine. If you're using a Mac, Command and H, and then please do pop any comments, questions in there. But please do address them to all panelists and attendees, just so that everybody's kept in the loop. Okay. There is a Q&A box as well. We tend really mainly to use the chat box, but feel free to use the Q&A box as well if you would like to. You can also raise your little virtual hand with the keystroke Alt and Y or Command and Y if you want to actually voice your question, and we can when there's an appropriate moment later on in the session, we can unmute you and you can ask your questions to Jo and Paresh. Good. So Paresh, are you with us now? Have you arrived? Yes.
Yes, I am. Can you
good.
hear me?
Yes, we can. Good morning. How are you?
I'm good. Happy New Year, I should say.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year. Yeah, exactly. We're in February, but that, you know, it still works.
Absolutely.
Good. So Jo and Paresh, where are you in the world today? Where?
Right. Well, we're both working from home, and I'm based in Edinburgh, so I'm in Edinburgh.
Great. And Paresh, where?
And I'm in London.
Oh, okay.
Yes, sunny London today. So we got the sun trying to just, rise. So there we are.
Great. We're in all
nice and bright.
Good stuff. So we got London, we got Edinburgh, Fife, and then I'm over in East Yorkshire. So we're spread nicely.
Great.
Good. We've got a few comments already coming in. Good morning from Caroline, and Pamela's asked if we're all muted. Pamela, yes, at the moment. You're not going mad. You are all muted. Okay, as this is a webinar platform, all attendees will be muted throughout. But as I said, if you do want to ask a question, we can unmute you. Just raise your little virtual hand, Alt and Y, or you can do it manually via the participants box. Yes, and I can unmute you. Good. Yeah, and Jacqueline's already asked a question. We'll get back to that in just a second. Right, that's all the formalities out of the way then. Good. So we're really excited today to be talking about the RNIB Reading Services and everything else that comes with that. So I won't go into it too much because I know that Jo and Paresh are going to. So I'll hand over, and yeah, Jo and Paresh, please just let us know when there's an appropriate time, and we'll stop and we'll fire loads of questions at you, if that's all right.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Over to you guys.
That's lovely. Thank you very much. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, Stuart. Thank you so much for inviting us to take part in your AT Social Hub. I've attended one of your seminars and they're wonderful, and I would have gladly been involved in more, but we've been so busy with lockdown during since March, dealing with the increased number of phone calls and inquiries, and now we're able to, you know, find time to do a bit more partnership work, which is wonderful. Today we're going to be talking about RNIB Reading Services, and we're going to mainly focus on the digital service, but I'll just quickly mention that we do have traditional analog CD and USB methods of receiving DAISY books, audiobooks. So you can get audiobooks sent out to you on CD or on a USB stick, and then these can be played on a DAISY player, CD player, or on a simple USB player. Some of these USB players only cost about £50. So you can use the RNIB service. The reading service itself is completely free of charge for leisure books, audiobooks. The Newsagent service for newspapers and magazines has a subscription attached to it, but the reading service is completely free, and you could get started for as little as £50 with either a USB player, or you could use an Amazon Fire tablet starting at £50. So there's lots of options. We launched a digital service back in 2014 on the Overdrive platform, and in February 2020 we introduced a new digital download service which we've named Reading Services, and we dropped the Overdrive service in May 2020. We closed the Overdrive service. We extended it a little longer during the first strict lockdown, and we phased in the new reading service. So the way the new reading service works is you can download books via our website, and the beauty of doing that is that you can download books in a wide range of formats. So you can download books in the DAISY audio format, the EPUB format. EPUB is an accessible text format, so that means you've got all the words of the book, which means that you can then enlarge the print of the book. There are ways of using the print with screen readers and with Braille, but in fact, if you want to use Braille books from RNIB, we now have a wide range of Braille books available in the Braille format for download from our reading services website. So one of the reasons behind relaunching the reading service and no longer using Overdrive was that we wanted to be able to add Braille books to our digital repertoire. We wanted people to be able to use Braille displays and Braille note takers to be able to access Braille books, and we couldn't do that through the Overdrive platform. Another reason that we changed from Overdrive to our new service is that Overdrive, we couldn't get all of the publishers on board with Overdrive, and we're also having other technical hitches as well. And we found that we got some feedback from customers where they found the Overdrive app quite cluttered. There was always an option to use Overdrive with the EasyReader app, but perhaps it was difficult for us to get the message across. People tended to use the Overdrive app. So now we've relaunched the digital book service, and it's called Reading Services. And what you have to do first of all is create an account with RNIB. So in a moment, I'll screen share and I can show you the reading service website. But I'll just explain that once you've created your RNIB Reading Service account, you can then use the EasyReader app, log in to Dolphin, then log into RNIB Reading Services, and then download the books directly onto the EasyReader app. Now, it's not the only method of accessing books. As I mentioned, you can download them directly from the Reading Service website, and you can then play them in a range of media players. You can use things like Winamp, VLC Player, and you can use Voice Dream Reader. I haven't tried that myself, but I've got a colleague who has, and she rates it. And it's probably very good with EPUB, the EPUB format where you've got the text, because Voice Dream Reader, an app for iOS and Android, that allows you to choose a wide range of font sizes and color schemes. And it also has speech. It's got text to speech and a range of voices. I think you pay extra for extra voices, but I think the basic subscription allows you to have a choice of voices. And so for someone who wants to use both print and speech, or possibly just print in a particular color scheme, Voice Dream Reader may have benefits over and above EasyReader. However, EasyReader also allows you to choose color schemes. So if you want to read EPUB books, which are the ones with the text in them, on EasyReader, you can choose a color scheme that you prefer, and you can choose the voice that you prefer and play around with the reading speed and so on. So I'll come back to EasyReader in a minute, but I'll just have a go at screen sharing. And I know that a participant is asking the difference between RNIB Reading Services and RNIB Bookshare. So I'll just explain that in a moment. So I'll just get the RNIB website up on the screen. So I'm just going to click screen share. I would need to be enabled to do that, Stuart. It's not essential if it's a problem.
Okay.
But
no, there you go.
Yeah,
You're off.
Good.
Yeah.
Great. And you just have to hand it over. It's great. Right. And then go on to the RNIB page. Right. So hopefully you can now see an RNIB web page. So I'll just describe it as well, obviously. So we've got a major heading, which is books. So I'm on the books page of the RNIB website. And the first thing it emphasizes is that RNIB Reading Services is absolutely free. So then it goes on to present some options. So one of the options is talking books by digital download, or talking books on CD and USB. I was mentioning that earlier, or Braille books. And there's also reference to the giant print library. And I know that somebody has asked a question about that. Basically, we've had to close the giant print library for various reasons, partly linked to the current coronavirus situation and partly linked to the fact that fewer people were using it. And we've now got a lot more options for offering people large print via digital platforms. So a lot of people have transferred over to using digital books, and we're now offering a reduced service for giant print customers where they can request specific titles. So we're no longer offering a very wide range of titles through a library, but we're enabling people to choose a specific title and have that transcribed into large print. And there's a number of, they're allowed to request a certain number. I think a basic number is free. There may be a charge for additional large print titles. So the large print is now available through apps like EasyReader. So you can download the EPUB books and enlarge the text in them. And there are other options as well for having large print books sent out to you. So if we're looking at the digital download service, it's important, obviously, to create your own membership. With the old Overdrive system, we used to issue a membership and a password, and we used to send that out to people by email. But now it's a self-serve system, like most online services. You go onto the website and you set yourself up with usually it's your email address you use, and then you create a password. So I'm just going to go to the RNIB screen for just going to load it at the top. So the address to use for reading services, you can go straight there by typing readingservices.rnib.org.uk. And this is linked to our main website. Our main website is www.rnib.org.uk. But if you type reading services, all one word, then .rnib.org.uk, takes you straight to the reading services page, where you've got help and advice, and you've also got login or register. Is this screen showing? I should have RNIB
Yes.
Reading Services now with a young man in headphones and a pink banner on the right.
Yeah, we're all picking that
Great,
up.
Yes.
great. That's great, because that means Zoom's following me as I change from page to page. That's great. Okay, so I'm just going to see if I can move this window. Yes, I can. Right, now I've got register and login. So if I click on register, then you just put in an email address. So I'm just going to put in a personal one. So I've typed in Jo Fullerton at Yahoo, blah, blah, blah. And then it asks me for a password. So I'm going to create a password. So I'm just typing in my password and it wants me to confirm it. So I've written the same password twice. And now I'm going to put my name, Jo, and my surname, Fullerton. So I've got a first name field and a last name field. And it also wants me to put a title, but that's a drop-down list. So I'm going to choose from the drop-down list. Now this is all accessible with a screen reader. I'm going to choose Ms. from the list. The default is Mr. And then you need to type in your birthday. So I'm just going to put a pretend one in. So I'm going to go for the 30th of December. And let's see, shall I knock a few years off my age? I'll go for 1975. There you go. I'm not going to tell you how many years I've knocked off. And, and I'll put my phone number in. So I'll put my RNIB mobile number in. My computer's kindly remembering some of my data as well, which is nice. And then I can use the address lookup to type my address. So I've clicked on the address lookup button, and obviously I could action that using spacebar if I was using JAWS. And I'm going to type in my address. So just the street name. Okay, and then it wants to know exactly which flat I live in. So I choose the flat from the list that pops up. And then it populates the address for me, and then I go to the next button. So if I was doing this with a screen reader, I would keep tabbing, or if I was on a digit, you know, if I was on a touch screen, I would flick to the next button and double tap. So I'm clicking on the next button. Haha, it says my password fields don't match, but that was a mistake I made deliberately, of course, just to demonstrate what happens if you don't get your passwords matching. So the best thing to do in this case is to start again, I reckon. So just going to start again, make sure both passwords match. So it's remembered all the other details that I put in, thank goodness. So I go back down to the next button. Okay, all right. Now it says an account already exists, but it's found the wrong email address. This is where it's, sometimes I'm just going to put Outlook in. What's happened there is the computer has remembered my RNIB email address. So now I'm putting in this new one because I'm trying to pretend to be a new customer, you see. Right. So it's probably going to play up a little bit now. So what I might do is just continue by describing what happens next. So what happens next is you submit that. And as long as it's a new username, it will create a new username for you for the account. For the reading service, and it will log or register that password as being for your email address. So then what happens is it gives you a message saying that we're going to send you an email. And when you get the email, you've got to click on the link. There's only one link in the email, and that link then launches a similar page to the one we've just been in. So it launches RNIB's reading service webpage, and it asks you to log in. So it prompts you to log in. So it already recognizes you as a member, but you're not yet fully registered. And that's why I wanted to go through this with you, because it's quite complex. It's complex for people that aren't familiar with it. And it's complex for anyone who's not used to filling in these kind of forms. And because it's in 2 stages. Otherwise, it's relatively straightforward. And we're always available to help I did mean to explain, you know, that one of my main roles as a Technology for Life coordinator is to answer your inquiries, and we can do that by our main helpline number, which is 0303 123 9999, or you can email helpline@rnib.org.uk. They'll pass your emails on to us, and we're in the Technology for Life team. And if the helpline advisor can't answer your question, for example, you could ask, how do I join RNIB Reading Service? How do I get CDs sent to me, talking books on CD? How do I subscribe to the Newsagent? The helpline advisors will help you with all of that. And if you then go on to a more complex technical question, they will put you through to us in the RNIB technology team. And we're available Monday to Friday, 9 till 5, and the helpline's available 8 till 8 p.m. weekdays and 9 till 1 on Saturdays. So you can send an email anytime, of course, and we'll deal with that as soon as we can. Where was I? I was just going through the reading service membership. So I'm partway through and I've received my email asking me to log in. So when I clicked on the link in my email, my imaginary email, it then launched this reading service site again, and it asked me to log in, and it was it may already have your email address as well. I think it does. So when the page launches, your email address appears at the top and it's not in an edit field. So if that doesn't read correctly, then it means that something's gone wrong with your original, you know, entry of your email address. But then in that case, you wouldn't have received the email link. So there's two things to check if you don't receive the email link. You know, obviously check that your emails are working and that you're online and so on. But also check you've used the correct email address, because obviously it can't reach you if it's got the wrong address. And then thirdly, if you think that you've done everything correctly and you are online and you still haven't received the link, it's possible to go back to the website and ask them to resend the link. So, and if in doubt, call us and we'll help you. Right, so then you've clicked on your link, you've typed in your password because your email address is already there, and you will then be asked a series of further questions. And these questions involve things like whether you will be happy for RNIB to contact you out of the blue about products and services and or about fundraising. And you can actually say which things you want to be contacted about and which things you don't want to be contacted about. And you can also say whether you want to be contacted by email or contacted by phone, that sort of thing. And then it will also ask you if you have a sight loss or other relevant disability. And make sure you spread the word that RNIB Reading Services is available to anyone with a reading impairment, reading disability, including dyslexia, obviously sight loss, and other conditions like physical disabilities, for example, not being able to turn the pages of a book or not being able to hold a book, unusual conditions that aren't actually sight loss but mean that you can't read. So it could be stroke related, could be a learning disability, and quite a wide range of other issues like that. So you can always ring us to check if you're not sure if someone qualifies. And then you also have to tick a box saying that you're, can't quite remember which way around it is, whether you say that you are under 16. I think you have to tick a box if you are under 16, otherwise you just progress. And it, I think actually it's the other way around. I think you confirm you're an adult, and the reason for that is because if you're an adult, you can receive all the adult titles, but if you're under 16, you can only receive the children's titles. So once you've filled in that final list of questions and click the next or submit button at the end, you will then be a fully registered member of RNIB Reading Service, and you'll be logged into the RNIB Reading Service page. So I'm just going to go to that now. I'm going to log in using my RNIB account.
Just while you're doing that, Jo, we've got a couple of quick questions.
Yes.
Caroline's asked if the RNIB service is UK-based only.
Yes, that's a good question. I just got asked the other day whether somebody in the Republic of Ireland could join. Right. you want me to just quickly answer that?
Please,
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I checked with Reading Service directly just to make sure. I thought the answer was UK only, and it is. It's UK only, I'm afraid. So it's not possible. And even if you're a UK national but living abroad, I don't think it works from other countries. So you've got to be living in the UK and a UK national, or basically you've got to be resident in the UK to use the service.
Great, thank you for that.
Okay. And is there another question or no?
Well, we've got lots queued, but you carry on, and when
okay, well, I'll just quickly talk about the download service from the website. Then we could stop for some questions, and then we could go on to EasyReader. And
Perfect.
also I can give PJ and Stuart a chance to chip in as well. So
Good.
Yeah, so I'll just check that you guys, can you see that I'm now on a screen where it says title search on the left and log off on the right?
Yes, we can. Perfect.
Right, I'm still screen sharing. That's great. So obviously, when you're not logged in, you don't get title search, and instead of it saying log off, it says log in. So one way to tell whether you're logged in or not is to check what the final button on the right says. So the final button on the right currently says log off. And obviously, if I was on a tablet or an iPhone or Android phone, I could swipe till I get to that button, and when I hear that button, I can double tap to action it or whatever. So I'm now going to go to title search, and those of you who can see the screen, there's a title search at the top, which is a simple title search, but I'm going to go to the main title search button on the main toolbar, and I'm going to go into the actual full search. And there is still a simple search, which is the default, but now I can click on advanced search, and I'm going to do that. So if I was using a screen reader here, I would tab to the buttons, or I would use things like the forms list, and I would find advanced search in the forms list. Okay, so I've actioned advanced search, clicked on it. Don't really like saying I've clicked on it because it's so, mouse driven, but anyway, I've double tapped or clicked on advanced search, and now I've got the options of quick search, I've got title, I've got ISBN number, I've got the type of Braille book, I've got sort by, format, author, narrator. So I'm just trying to convey that with advanced search, you've got a lot of options. We don't really need to know what they all are at the moment. With a simple search, you've just got title and author. But it's quite important if you're searching for either EPUB books or Braille books. It's quite important to be able to say that in the format. So we do that in advanced search. So I'm going to double tap or click on the format option, and I've got a choice of Daisy Audio, Braille, EPUB. It actually says EPUB 3, which is the latest EPUB, HTML, which is web-based text, text only, which is simple text, PDF, portable document format, and Word. So you've got a wide range of options, but be aware that not all titles are available in all formats. So I'm going to choose Braille as a quick example, and I'm going to put the author name in. So who shall we search for? I'm going to go for Helen. I'm going to go for Helen Dunmore and see if we've got anything in Braille by Helen Dunmore. Now we've got a choice of saying that we only want RNIB books, and since it's Braille, I think I will just go for RNIB books. And then Braille type, I think I want it to be a transcribed Braille book rather than an automated Braille book. So we'll just see what I get. So I'm going to click search now. We might not have anything by this author, so I may need to choose an easier author. I'll go for Charles Dickens because we've got a wide range of stuff by him. Right, not found anything. Okay, I'm just going to switch the format to Daisy Audio instead and see what it finds. Right, okay, so I've switched to Daisy Audio just to make sure that I did get a result. The search box can be a little bit exacting. It prefers you to add something to the quick search field. And I usually get around this by putting an asterisk in, but just to make sure that I did get something, I put the word tale, because I know that Charles Dickens wrote A Tale of Two Cities. So I put asterisk and tale, and I click search, and now I've got 49 results, and it's found lots of Dickens books. So I'll try it again without the word tale, and it'll probably still be able to find me the results. Yeah, so we did find this out way back, and it had just slipped my mind that you have to put a wildcard asterisk in the quick search field, otherwise it doesn't find anything for you. So that's a good tip. But obviously, if you just type a title in there, if you know what you're looking for, then that also works. It just doesn't like it if you leave the field blank. Okay, so you can download a Daisy book from this list now if you want to, or a Braille book or whatever. So if there's more time later, I can come back to this, but that just gives you a flavour of how you can search for titles in the RNIB Reading Service website. And the website has all of the book formats. It's got Braille, EPUB, etc. When you're using the EasyReader app, you've got the choice of Daisy books, audio books, or you've got EPUB books, but you don't get Braille books, and you don't get HTML or Word versions either. So if you want to download the wide range, you need to go to the Reading Services webpage, which is readingservices.rnib.org.uk. But if, on the other hand, you just want to do quick downloads direct to your mobile or tablet, then by all means use EasyReader. And I should quickly mention there's EasyReader for Windows. It's not free, it's £40. There's a free trial available, and you can download that from the Dolphin website. And it's if you're using JAWS screen reader or other screen readers like NVDA, then it's best to use the desktop version of EasyReader for Windows, because there is also an app or a lighter version. But the desktop version is very sort of traditional, with a traditional menu system, and you download books directly into the EasyReader for Windows program. And then it plays them for you. So that does cost £40. However, the EasyReader app that I mentioned for iOS, Android, tablets, etc., and Amazon is free of charge. Right, sure, you've got lots of questions, so I'll just hand back to Sam for a wee while, and you can fire the questions at me.
Good stuff. Thanks, Jo.
Right, I'll stop screen sharing as well.
Okay, lovely. Yeah, lots of interesting stuff there, and there's lots and lots of questions that have queued as well. So, but very quickly, I know you've touched on this already, but there's a few more people that have just asked. Can you confirm the exact difference between Bookshare and the reading services?
Yes, I don't think I got round. I didn't get round to answering that actually.
Oh, okay.
So RNIB Bookshare is our platform for students, teachers and learners who are studying subjects and want academic texts and non-fiction texts that cover, you know, the more academic subjects. So it's free to join, it's educational resource material, and it's a huge library. There are lots of titles and genres. You've got audio formats, text formats, a range of formats, so you can have Word and plain text and Braille as well. So if you want to use our non-fiction library that's directed towards education, then join the RNIB Bookshare service. This is not the same thing as the international Bookshare service. There's a sort of American hosted Bookshare service. This is our own RNIB Bookshare. And I think I ought to mention, since I'm based in Scotland, and in Scotland there's a separate education curriculum. So RNIB Bookshare, although it is UK wide and can be accessed to anybody in the UK, it does really focus on, for under 18s, it focuses on England and Wales and probably Northern Ireland curriculum materials. If you're looking for Scotland curriculum materials, you need to contact the Books for All website, which is hosted by Call Scotland. And Call Scotland host Books for All, which is the equivalent of RNIB Bookshare for Scotland. So they provide that service for people with sight loss and for people with all other reading disabilities. And they are a pan-disability organisation. Call Scotland's attached to Edinburgh University. And they also do some really valuable work. They host the Scottish Voices as well. So if you want to download a Scottish voice to use with your screen reader, you can get that from Call Scotland, from the Scottish Voices website that they host. So Books for All and Scottish Voices, go to Call Scotland or go directly to Books for All or go to Scottish Voices. So it's a really good resource. We don't host it in Scotland. Right, so back to Bookshare, which we do host. You can get a membership by phoning us on the helpline number 0303 123 9999. You can send us an email, helpline@rnib.org.uk. And if you look at our website, you'll be able to find out more information there. I think somebody was asking a question about under 5. Sam, do you want to read it out to me?
Yes, so Joanna has asked, I'm recommending this service to a parent of an under 5. Parents will probably use their personal email. When the child gets to school, the school will want to download books. Should they make a second account for the child?
Yes, now schools are allowed to create accounts, but they should check with the reading service. They should phone us on the helpline and just check the best way to get that account set up. So it's possible for schools to create an account in the name of the child, and certainly for a Bookshare account as well. And teachers can create accounts too. Somebody was asking if the RNIB Bookshare service is the same. In other words, does it allow people with dyslexia or other disabilities to use it? And yes, I believe so. Yeah.
Good. That was another question. Somebody also asked if dyspraxia was a requirement. Is that
oh yes, definitely, because dyspraxia affects reading speed and the effort of reading. So even if you can hold a book and turn the pages, the fact that you may struggle to process print because of dyspraxia and dyslexia, and broader issues, ADHD, as I mentioned, learning disability, possibly I would say mental health would come into it too. So if you are comfortable declaring that you need audiobooks or other format books because of mental health reasons, absolutely, I'm sure, you just need to apply. And I guess because it's a self-serve system, if you're confident that you meet the criteria, you can just create a membership. So,
excellent. Well, I think that's great that it's available to people with a range of disabilities.
Yeah.
It's important. Very good. A couple more questions. We've got Lisa's asked, she thinks that Bookshare, the book service is wonderful. She has one question though. Why can she no longer print off an application from the website? A lot of the people that she works with, they prefer a printed application rather than a digital application.
Right. Gosh, that's a really good question. And I think it'd be great if that was an option. I'll put that to reading services. So I'll do that after the meeting.
Yes, thank you. And
yeah,
we'll get back to you on that one, Lisa. Good. Anne has asked, can sighted professionals working with people with sight loss? Oh yeah, we've had this similar to the parent and child. Can sighted professionals working with people with sight loss register for the service to help demonstrate the service?
I believe so. I think they should apply directly to reading services. You can send an email directly to reading services if you wish. So it's a bit of a longer winded title. So please use helpline@rnib.org.uk for ease. But if you want to, you can send an email directly to readingservices.mailbox@rnib.org.uk.
Fantastic. Thank you. And then we've had a couple of different people asking about syncing devices. So if you're signed into reading services on a tablet and a phone, will your books sync? Because we've had a couple of people saying that my books don't appear to sync.
I don't think it syncs well. Maybe PJ, if you want to add anything on this, but I think there's issues around syncing. I think that it doesn't go from one device to the other, does it? Is that right, PJ?
Yes, you are right. Sometimes it's a bit flaky, put it that way. So it's not something that you can rely on.
Does it? So would you say that it can sync, but it's not reliable? It's not like 100%.
It's not 100%.
Yeah. And would you say that it wouldn't likely sync between an Android and an iOS device, that it would find that even more difficult?
I won't comment on that because I've only used on the iOS platform at the moment.
Yeah, probably though. It's probably more difficult if you're trying to go cross-platform.
Yeah. We'd always recommend, with similar things. Yeah, if you're sticking to the same platform, it's probably better. Okay, good. We've got what else have we got here? Can you access the RNIB reading services the same as the reading service? Oh, yeah, dyslexia. We've looked at that one, and Tracy's asked again. Can you please give the email address again for professionals wishing to sign up in order to demonstrate?
Yes, so it'd probably save you time if you want to ask a very specific question to go straight to reading services, all one word, .mailbox@rnib.org.uk. But please bear in mind that if you simply use helpline, we'll direct the email to the right department.
Great. And then last question before I let you crack on. Do you still offer, Sophie, thanks for your question, Sophie has asked, do you still offer a service to register over the phone? Because many service users I meet do not have access to the internet or email.
We don't have a pure over the telephone service. And one of the reasons for that is because the link is sent to your email and we have no way of accessing people's email. So we do our best to help people over the phone. And I do know of trusted sight loss professionals who assist people. And then in those circumstances, it's probably okay that they maybe have access, helping with passwords and that sort of thing. It's very difficult for us because we're not allowed to share customers' passwords. So there's a limit to what we can do over the phone, but we actually do go to a lot of effort to help people by giving them telephone support. And we also can refer people on to our volunteer service, but at the moment it's remote only, unfortunately. So with pre-coronavirus, we could arrange for a home visit from a volunteer to assist somebody to sign up to reading services. But at the moment it's remote only, but we do hope that as we go forward, the vaccination programme and so on, that eventually the government will be able to relax all the guidelines to the point where we can send volunteers out again, and also where you can turn up to our drop-in sessions that we hold in certain places, and also you'll be able to get help from other professionals more easily. So at the moment, the ideal thing is if the customer who's having difficulty registering can have a bit of support, from a family member or friend or a carer, and then also get help from us over the phone. So we can assist anybody to help someone else. Our helpline service is for everyone. So if you want to help somebody get online, get on our reading service, you can ring us and you can be present helping someone and also still get our help. So like a three-way conversation, that can work quite well. So I spotted some questions coming up. Do you prefer, it's best if you read them out, isn't it, Sam?
That's fine. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We've had a few more drop in. Yeah. Can you confirm? Just confirm. Is the cost £40 per year a one-off payment? And that was in relation to the Microsoft EasyReader version.
Yeah, EasyReader. Yeah, EasyReader for Windows is £40 lifetime, one-off.
Excellent. Yeah, that's just for the Windows platform, everybody, not for smartphone or tablet.
Yeah. Can I ask PJ to see if he knows the answer? PJ, do we have EasyReader for Mac? Because I can't quite remember.
I don't know the answer to that.
I'll try and find that out before the end of the session. I can quickly check.
So I'll maybe just quickly come in at Stuart here, guys, just because I have been asked this question, and from my research, I can't find any EasyReader app for Mac, because the thing that the client I was working with, it was fine, on her iPad with the EasyReader, and then when she tried to download a book from the RNIB Reading Services onto Mac, there was a bit of difficulty, and I just could not find an EasyReader option for Mac at this point, I'm afraid. So that's maybe something worth taking up with Dolphin, to be honest. There.
Yeah. That's that. I think that's the case, that it's not available. Yeah. So there are other options, and I think it's probably best if we look at those. So if anybody's got a Mac and wants to know what platforms to use, we could come back to you on that. So please either email Stuart or Sam, or email us at helpline@rnib.org.uk. For those of you who are really keen, to have a list of email addresses, that are a bit more detailed, you can email us at TFL, and you can just use TFL, that's Technology for Life, Tango Foxtrot Lima, TFL@rnib.org.uk. And we've also got TFL.mailbox, but TFL works, TFL@rnib.org.uk.
You're not going to start talking to people from Transport for London.
I know, it's great, isn't it? Yeah, brilliant.
Paul Porter has asked, has dropped in and said, Paul from Reading Services. Do we know Paul?
Brilliant, Paul. Paul.
Yeah, good. We've got a secret squirrel as well. Paul's asked. He said he can answer the question on the paper form registration. So, Paul, I'm going to unmute you, Paul, or I'm going to allow you to talk, and then you can unmute yourself. If you just unmute yourself, Paul, and then you can join the party. Oh, there you go.
Hello. Hi.
Hello.
Yeah, really good. Been enjoying the presentation. Couple of quick things, if I may. So the reason we don't have a paper form, or the reason why we don't allow a helpline to set up an account, some of it's to do with data protection. Some of it's to do with, we want people to be independent and able to, as much as possible, set up their own accounts. Normally, of course, with our volunteers and friends and family would be able to help, but because of COVID, of course, that's not possible. So, COVID caught us a bit, caught everyone by surprise, didn't it? So, people have had to perhaps do more themselves than might have been necessary otherwise. And of course, Jo and Paresh, your team have been great in helping people set up, but we don't have an electronic form because it's really, it's a digital registration. And of course, in this day and age, we want to cut out as much paperwork as possible. The other point, of course, is that, if you don't have internet, then this service isn't really for you. We've still got the physical talking book service where you can get books on CD or on memory stick. So we're not saying, reading services is for everyone. It's for people who have got internet, be it from your computer or your smartphone or your tablet. The other thing to say is the EasyReader for Windows doesn't at the moment give direct download access to reading services. You can download a book and then import it into EasyReader. EasyReader is also available in the latest version of Dolphin Guide Connect, and that is, available to download directly from the program. Another thing I just wanted to mention quickly is that most of our books at the moment are the traditional audio-only talking books. We've got about, 31,000 or so. We've got about 1,000 Braille titles at the moment. And then as we develop the service, there'll be more EPUBs and different formats that you'll be able to download from publishers. And the idea really is that we get books available to download at the same time as they're made available in print or in audio. And of course, years ago, RNIB used to be synonymous. If you talked about talking books, it was RNIB. But audiobooks now are a huge business. And, a company like Audible, for example, have got something like 200,000 different, they've got books, they've got BBC content, they've got also, short dramas, all sorts of things. So audio listening, for all sorts of genres and types of content is huge. And some of these companies are making their content available to RNIB, which is great because it means, going ahead, we'll have many, many more books available than we've got now. So that's really all I wanted to say. Thanks for giving me the opportunity. If there are any more questions that Paresh and Jo, you're not sure of, then I'm happy to jump in again.
Sure,
So
Paul,
can you just stay unmuted for a quick second, Paul? Sorry,
Yeah.
I'm cutting across Paresh there as well, but just from I'm coming at this from a user's point of view today. So one thing, not sure whether I should mention it, but one thing I have heard, and this is really exciting to me, and one thing that I think really will make this service a lot easier in the future is that it's the smart speaker side is under development as well. Can you give us any more information on that?
Yeah, sorry to steal your thunder, Joe, but
no, it's fine. Go ahead, Paul. You are the guru on this.
I'm sure you were going to mention it. Yeah, we are working on that as we speak. It's coming soon, but we don't have an exact date. But hopefully, not too far away. We'll be starting off with an Amazon Alexa skill, and then there'll be a Google Home version, to follow a little bit later. So absolutely, Stuart, really exciting. I think that'll open it up to a lot of people. When I used to work in Tech for Life, and I think I was one of the people who thought of the TFL name, so you can blame me. Hoping we wouldn't be sued by London Transport, but anyway. God, I've lost my train of thought. What was I going to say? Yeah.
Smart speaker.
Smart speaker. Thank you. So we used to get questions from, even quite elderly people. It used to be the case you'd say, "Have you got internet?" And most people would say, "Oh no, I'm too old for that kind of thing." But towards the end of my time at Tech for Life in 2018, 2017, lots of people, all different ages were asking, have you got smart speaker support for talking books? So it's finally coming, and it will, you'll be able to search, you'll be able to ask for a book, you'll be able to, resume from where you left off. So I'm really excited about it, and hopefully our users will be as well.
Sure. Paul, just as you are still there, do you have anything to add towards the Mac platform? Are there any?
Don't know of anything, Paresh. And the only thing to say about the Mac, so when you download a book on a computer, when you download it with EasyReader, it's processed automatically. But when you download a book on a Windows machine, for example, because DAISY is made up of lots of files, lots of MP3s, lots of SMIL files, etc., that make up the DAISY content, the book's actually, it comes down in one zip file. So you have to unzip it, and there's a kind of specific way you do that so that players don't muddle up the files. But it is described on the website how to do that. You can use the built-in Windows 10 utility, for example. But we found with Macs that the built-in Mac unzip utility tended to sort of mess up the order of the files. There are various inexpensive apps that you can get for the Mac to unzip. One is called Keka. I think it's Keka. I think it's about $1.99, and we found users have had success. So you could, download your book, unzip it, and play it on the Mac, or indeed copy it onto an MP3 player if need be. But I don't think Dolphin have a version of EasyReader for the Mac as yet. I'm not sure if they're planning one. I know they are looking at building direct access into EasyReader for Windows, but not sure when that's going to happen.
Okay, thanks for that, Paul. Final question before we let you go. Of course, we'll come back to you. Any feedback on the syncing side? Does it work?
Yeah, so when you use EasyReader, you've got to set up a Dolphin account. So if you you can also sign in with an Apple account or a Google account. And when you do that, and I've had pretty good success because I use EasyReader on Windows. I use EasyReader on iOS and also on Android. And I think with the latest versions, and admittedly I'm on beta versions, but I've certainly found that the syncing works. It doesn't download the same books, but as long as you download, book one, say Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, you download it in Android, you download it in iOS, it does tend to sync. It works quite well. Doesn't always do it, but I've had quite good success with it. The other thing to say with Android, some books we know don't open in EasyReader, but we're working on a fix for that. We had an issue with books. So some of our books, if you got it through the post, would be on, most of our books are on one CD. But there's a number of books that are on 2 or more. War and Peace, for example, is on 4 CDs. So we had an issue that if you downloaded a book, say War and Peace in EasyReader, EasyReader might play disc part 1, which would relate to disc 1, but it wouldn't play disc part 2 or part 4 or part 3. But we've pretty much fixed that situation, and the book then is just treated as one huge big file. If anyone does have any issues with particular books, or it finds any issues, then you can email reading services at rnib.org.uk, and we'll investigate. We'll get back to you. We can't, because we've got 31,000 or so books on there, we can't test every book. So customer feedback is really helpful, and it's your service. So feel free to praise us, feel free to criticize, feel free to point out any issues. And also, just one final thing to say is that it is a developing service. So we're currently working on redesigning the search function on the website. We're working with Dolphin to improve access to things like wish lists and so on. So what you've got now isn't what you'll have in 6 months or a year's time. We're committed to making it better, and any suggestions that people have are gratefully received.
Thank you very much, Paul.
Brilliant. Thank you, Paul. It was really useful insight from another member of the team. So thank you.
Thank you, Paul. It's wonderful.
No, it's a pleasure. I'm around till the end if there's anything.
Yeah, why don't you stick around as a panelist, Paul, just in case. Yeah,
okay.
good
Thank
stuff.
you.
Thank you.
Sam, shall I come back on a couple of questions that I spotted? One was about the large print library. So I've got the information here about the large print library. So basically, another reason that it was closed, if you like, or at least reduced dramatically, is because we just didn't have a very large volume of books. For example, I'll give you an example. We had 3,000 children's books in large print, but only in one size, 24 point. And by switching to ebooks, we could offer children 20,000 titles instead of 3,000 titles, which they can then download and then enlarge to the exact size they prefer. However, we recognise that some readers do prefer or need a paper book. So the personal transcription service at RNIB, which has always existed, is willing to do an on-demand print via the Bookshare collection. So I'm not sure what happens if the title's not in the library. That's something that Paul might be able to answer. Somebody else was asking, can we request book titles? And I certainly would suggest that you just email helpline or reading services saying that you would like a book to be added. But obviously there's no guarantee that we can provide it. So certainly in the case of a large print book that's in our list, I mean an actual title, sorry, not a large print book, a title that's already in our list in Bookshare, can be issued to you as a large print version, paper version, via our personal transcription service. So again, you just call the helpline to arrange that or email us. Paul, do you want to come in on things like, requesting a very specific title, and maybe one that's not already in the list?
Yep. So, as I say, we're working with publishers to get more and more titles. But yeah, by all means, any suggestions, as you say, we can't always get the book, or it might take a while, but chances are that because we don't record all the talking books that we have now, we get them from other sources. It might be possible. There are still some discrepancies between what publishers will allow us to have as physical talking books and will allow us to have as digital downloads, but we are working with them, and they are more amenable now to making that happen. I mean, some are just reticently saying no, you're not having it as a digital download, but we're trying to twist arms, as it were, and there's all sorts of good reasons why books should be available as downloads. So I think as the service develops, you'll see a lot more books available than we have, even than we have at the moment. But yeah, by all means, put in a request. and it may be easy to get, or it may be something we can record in due time. But we do tend to have the sort of latest blockbusters, and we do try and get them pretty much at the same time as they're made available in other forms, in print or in audio from companies like Audible.
That's great, Paul. Thank you.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank you. Good. So, Jo, did you want to move on to EasyReader?
Yes.
Before we, yeah,
that would be lovely. And it's 11 o'clock, isn't it? So are we going to keep going till about 11:30, and then?
Well, yeah. Well, if you're comfortable with that, then people will drop away, but we've got the recording for people to catch up on. So yeah,
great.
Good.
Okay. So I mentioned the EasyReader app. And we've also been talking about EasyReader for Windows. So when I say the EasyReader app, I'm talking about the app that you could install on an iOS device, that's iPhone, iPad, or an Android phone or tablet, or the Amazon Fire tablet. And the app is completely free, and you download it from the relevant App Store or Play Store. So you go to your device and go to the App Store and type in, I personally would type in Dolphin space EasyReader. EasyReader is all one word. However, if you simply type EasyReader, you'll get 2 results. And obviously you choose the one that says Dolphin EasyReader. And then you install the app on your device, and then you create a Dolphin account when you're logging in. So it's a 2-stage login process. First of all, you log in using a Dolphin account, and as Sam mentioned, you can also use, or it may have been Paul or Stuart that mentioned that you can also use an iCloud account, or you can use a Google account. So when I've done it, I've always used a Dolphin account. So you can create a Dolphin account for the first time. There's a link that allows you to do that, and then you log in using your Dolphin account. And then once you're into the EasyReader app, you will see a search edit field at the top of the screen, and it will say EasyReader at the very top of the app. So the title of the app page will be EasyReader. When you're in that page, you're in EasyReader, but you're not in RNIB Reading Services. So to get into RNIB Reading Services, you need to go to the side menu. So you would swipe until you hear it say side menu. You would then do a double tap to open the side menu. You would then flick from left to right, or swipe left to right, till you get down to where it says RNIB Reading Services. And if you're looking for RNIB Overdrive, it's also prefaced with RNIB. So there's 2 examples of RNIB. So you need to make sure you either choose RNIB Overdrive or lower down RNIB Reading Services. Now you'll find that there's a long list of libraries in the EasyReader app, and you can choose to manage your libraries and deselect the libraries that you're not using. And many of the libraries are either German or Swedish or Canadian or whatever. So you can deselect those ones, and you do that in the Manage Libraries section in the My Books, or in the side menu, which is below My Books. When you open the side menu, the first thing you'll hear is My Books, and then you go down to the next one down is Manage Libraries. So you double tap on the Manage Libraries option, and then you can deselect the libraries one at a time. But the Reading Service library, RNIB, Bookshare, RNIB Reading Service, they will already be in the list. And somebody asked the question recently, can you search for libraries by typing in the name of libraries? And that's not possible in EasyReader at the moment. I think I've done that I did it on Overdrive. I think that's what I'm remembering. I think in the Overdrive app, I could search for Edinburgh libraries, and I successfully got my Edinburgh Libraries membership working on Overdrive. So that meant I had a choice of RNIB books and Edinburgh Libraries audiobooks, but that was in the past, and the Overdrive app is still around, but we no longer use it. Overdrive is an international book hosting service, like an international digital library, and we're now using Benetech, and Paul could say more about that if there's time, or if he wishes to butt in or join in. So back to the app. So we've got our RNIB Bookshare and we've got our RNIB Reading Service, and when you choose one of those, it will then ask you to log in again. So if you're going to use Bookshare, you need to have got your membership set up through Bookshare, and I haven't tried setting up a membership with Bookshare, so I'm not quite sure of the process. I think you have to first of all ring the helpline or email the helpline and request a membership. and state your reason for needing it. But in the case of RNIB Reading Service, as we know, we go to the website. And of course, you can do that on your iOS device or your Android device. So you simply type readingservices.rnib.org.uk, and I'm supposed to say it's HTTPS at the beginning with the colon / / That means it's a secure website. But if you type reading services, it will take you there. And it doesn't seem to throw up anything else. So I don't think you're going to end up on the wrong website. And another trick I use is if I'm using Google to search for it, I often just type reading services home. And if you type reading services home, the first result you get is the correct one. Because we do have another web page which talks about our talking books and reading services in a more broad way. And that's on our main website, but we want to go to the reading services section. So home takes you there. This reading services home will take you there. Okay, so you've got your membership and you've got your EasyReader app installed and you've created a Dolphin account and you've logged in and you've gone into manage libraries, or you've gone into the library list, sorry, and you've gone down to reading services and you've logged in. Right, so now just bear with me a moment because I might get a bit stage fright. I've got to just get my app working on my iPhone, and of course it's gone to sleep. So, and you know, those of you who know me, you know, I'm sighted and I'm not a real voiceover user. So I'm a trainer stroke wannabe, you know. So I do my best, but bear with me while I just get it working. Hang on.
I spend most of my life in this position.
Yeah. Not going to tell you how long I've been doing this, and it doesn't always get any easier, at least not when you have an audience.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
Right. Okay, so I've got my iPhone here, and I've got the volume up to max, but I will also narrate what's happening as well, and I'll try and pause and let it speak. One of the things I'm a bit klutzy about is pausing speech, so I'll just admit that now. So I may just wait for it to stop. Because I'm always afraid of doing the wrong gesture, slightly. Right, now then, I'm going to get EasyReader open, and I've got two options. I could just go and search for it. I could flick till I find it, but the absolute easiest way to do it is to use Siri, so I'm going to do that. So I'm going to press my home button, and and of course I could use the wake word, but I'll press the home button, and I'll ask it to open EasyReader. Open EasyReader.
EasyReader. Side menu, Count of Monte Cristo, Alexandra Dumas,
now,
Daisy Audio.
Can everybody hear that?
On device.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Now, the reason it said Count of Monte Cristo is because I, klutz that I am, tapped the screen by accident. I'm one-handed, okay? So anyway, I tapped the screen, and otherwise it wouldn't have said that, okay? So the default is that well, I'd have to come out and come back in, but I think basically it lands on the search field. So I'm going to go back up to the search field by just flicking. So I hope you all heard it say search field. And then it prompts me, double tap to edit.
Search field is editing.
Now, I mentioned earlier that when you log into EasyReader the first time, you get into the EasyReader screen with the search field. And I may have made a slight error there because what I've currently got at the top of the screen is My Books. So it either says EasyReader or it says My Books. It certainly says My Books at the moment. But the point is it does not say RNIB Reading Services. So although I'm in a search field, I can't actually search for RNIB books at this point. So what I actually need to do is back up. I need to flick right to left and keep going, or I could use, I'm using an iPhone here, so I'm using VoiceOver, so I could use a 4-finger gesture at the top of the screen, and I could go to the side menu that way. So let's just see if that works.
Side menu.
Hooray.
Button.
So now I double tap that.
My Books.
Now,
Button.
I was talking about this My Books, sorry, I was talking about this side menu earlier. So I'm in the side menu, and the focus lands on My Books. And if I was to flick from right to left to go backwards, I'd hear the current book that's loaded. So that's at the very top, but the focus lands on My Books. And if I double tap that, I go back to where I was, which was a long list of books. And that long list of books could be from any library that's in my library list, you know, including Gutenberg and Calibre. So I'm now going to go past managed libraries, which I mentioned earlier. That's where we add, or, well, you can add libraries, but they've got to be in the list, and you can deselect libraries. Now, that first Bookshare, this is why I've been, you know, being a bit of an anorak and mentioning RNIB Bookshare and mentioning that there's a international Bookshare, because the very first Bookshare in the list, if you haven't already disabled it, that's the international one. And I don't know how easy it is to get a membership for that. Paul, do you want to put in and just say, can UK nationals get a membership of that international Bookshare? I don't know. Or come in later when you're ready.
Yeah, no. So how it works, RNIB Reading Services is essentially hosted by Bookshare.
Yeah.
So anyone that's registered to anyone that's registered with Reading Services has access to around about 5,000 books that Bookshare make available for free. But they tend to be quite obscure, you know, there's lots of psychology stuff and manuals and most things. So in Reading Services on EasyReader, when you search for a book, the default now is that it only finds RNIB content because that's what most people want. You can do a search all and it will show you everything that's, but
yeah,
a lot of the Bookshare stuff, most people wouldn't want to read it, and it got in the way of people finding, you know, talking book content from RNIB.
Yeah. So would I be right in saying that on the whole you would ignore this Bookshare option at the top? This is the international Bookshare option. So
pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so we'll just move on. And there's EPUB books, which I haven't. Now, don't confuse this EPUB book library with our RNIB EPUB books. The RNIB EPUB books are available through RNIB Reading Services. So just be aware that you've got these two libraries at the top here, which have slightly confusing names that you might mix up with our service. So Bookshare is one of them and EPUB books is the other. And then you get Project Gutenberg, and that is worth leaving in your list. So you could deselect those first two if it's putting you off, and then keep Project Gutenberg because that's quite good for searching for, you know, all sorts of texts and so on. And it's completely free. And then the next one is RNIB Bookshare. So I'll just let you hear that. So there's RNIB Bookshare, and then I'm going to go on to Dolphin Library, which I have to admit I haven't used recently. I used it very briefly online using the web-based library version, but I've never used it on here. And then I'm going to go on to the next one, which is RNIB Reading Services. And before I actually go into that, I'm just going to quickly go down to the next one, which I've just recently added, but I don't have a membership for yet, and it's Calibre. So if I was to double tap that, Calibre would then ask me for my login details, but I haven't got them. And I mean, I'm a bit loath to ask because I'm sighted, so I probably can persuade them to give me a demo account. But anybody who's got sight loss could sign up to Calibre in a straightforward way using their online. I'm sure it's an online system, or you can just call their helpline if they have one. I think they do. Right, RNIB Reading Services. I'm just going to go back up. And I'll do that next, but don't let me forget to talk to you about newspapers, because newspapers are also in the list, but it's lower down. So newspapers doesn't appear in the libraries list, it appears lower down. So I'm now going to go back up. RNIB Reading Services. And I don't have the default libraries in there. I've taken out the the German one and the Canadian one. I've deselected them, and it makes it easier to find the ones you want. Right, I'm going to double tap RNIB Reading Services. Now the default is that it reads the title. I'll just show you that to you, Sam. It's got the title at the top of the page, and I've now got another search field, and this is the correct search field. So if the title at the top is RNIB Reading Services, then you know you can search for RNIB Reading Service titles. Again, it prompts me double tap to edit. And now I can use my on-screen keyboard to type in a title or an author name, but I can also use dictate. So I'm going to use the two-finger double tap to start dictation. A Tale of Two Cities.
Inserted A Tale of Two Cities.
And then I repeat the double tap gesture, 2-finger double tap to turn dictation off. It then is ready for me to go to the next step, which is search. So now I'm going to use the 4-finger gesture at the bottom of the screen to find the search button, or I could just flick, but it takes longer.
Set. Bottom half screen search. A Tale of Two Cities. Charles Dickens. Easy audio.
So the focus immediately lands on the result. And if there's only one result, then it will read that out, and it's very straightforward. So in my case, I've only got one result, which is what you'd expect because I've searched for a specific title. If I had searched for Dickens, which I can demonstrate,
A Tale of Two Cities.
I'm going to go to the clear text buttons. What I did there was I swiped to find the search field, and then I swiped left to right to find the clear text button.
Clear text.
Now I've cleared the text, I've cleared the search text, and I'm now going to start again. Dickens.
Inserted Dickens.
Now, there's just one frustrating thing. The dictation has misspelled Dickens. Initially it put Dickens with an EN, and now it's misspelled it and put it with an INS. So I'm going to start again.
Clear text.
And of course, there are ways of checking the spelling using
Use the
VoiceOver and
rotor text.
other screen readers. So I'm going to start again.
Inserted Stuart.
Charles Dickens. Now, by using the full name of the author, this time it hasn't auto-corrected and it hasn't spelt it INS, it's spelt it ENS. So I'm now going to find the search button at the bottom of the screen.
Search.
So with iPhone or iPad, you use the 4-finger gesture at the bottom.
Please wait. Selected letters of Charles Dickens. Charles Dickens. Daisy audio.
Now, as you might expect, we don't just get his
Online.
books, but we also get his letters, and we might get non-fiction biographies and other articles about Charles Dickens.
Book information. Great expectations. Book information. The Pickwick. Book information. Christmas stories. Book information. Bleak House. Charles Dickens. Daisy audio.
I've got lots of results now.
Online.
And as I was going down through the list of titles, you'll have heard the phrase information, book information. So for sighted users, there's an I symbol on the right, and it's spoken as book information. So that's where you get a synopsis of the book.
Bleak House. Mobile data. Back button. Back.
Just going to make sure I'm on information. What I did there was I double tapped on the title, which takes me straight to the download option. But what I really wanted was the synopsis. So I'm just going to go to the information button. So to do that, stay on that title and flick once to the right, and then double tap. And this would be the same on Android or Fire tablet, Amazon Fire tablet. Basically, you're flicking left to right or right to left to go back, and you're double tapping to select and open and action something. So I'm now in the Bleak House book information. Interestingly, I've still got a download button, but I've got a summary now of the book.
Charles download the tragic results of Hester's discovery that she was not an orphan, as she had supposed, and the story of her friend Ada, wardened victim with her cousin Richard, of the Court of Chancery. Format, Daisy Audio, Library, RNIB Reading Services, Language,
English,
Library,
English.
Available for download.
Okay, and then there's a bit more with the Bookshare ID, publishing date, etc. Publishing date could be useful for more modern authors, you know, that could be relevant. Right. Now, if I wanted to download that, I could just download it. But to save time, I'm going to go back to my side menu, and I'm going to go to My Books. And I'm just going to choose the first book in that list because it's going to be much quicker. And after I've done the demo of this Daisy book, I'm going to talk about EPUB as well. And I know that Paul talked about the search all feature, so I'll explain that in a minute. And I'll also look at categories if there's time. So Whistling Woman by A.S. Byatt. I'm just going to double tap that to open it because I've already downloaded it.
Use the rotor to access 15 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, book default, Heading 1 only, audio speed.
If the book has a title page, you know, an illustration, then we use it, we display it. So for sighted users, partially sighted users, there's an attractive book title for this particular book. And then we go to the play button, and the focus is already on the play button. So it's a very simple app, because once you've opened your book title, the default is play pause. So obviously it's not speaking, so we need to double tap. So we don't even need to know where that play button is, but if we did want to look for it, we could just flick around.
Next, play, previous, this search,
Or
button.
If the focus had got up to the top, say you'd tapped the top by accident, or you just happened to have been searching for other things at the top. If you then wanted to find the play button, you could use that 4-finger gesture. It's a different gesture for TalkBack. I'm not even sure if they have one, but for iPhone and iPad, you just do 4 fingers at the bottom of the screen.
Settings.
The last item is navigation settings, and we want play. So you have to flick left twice. So navigation is the last item. Go back to is play. Double tap to play. So now we play.
Tree was a dwarf thorn. Its black branches shaped one way by the wind, pointing back the way they had come.
Pause. Play. Play.
They had come.
I got a bit confused there because it kept announcing play, but it was actually paused, because it announces the name of the button. So it does switch to a pause symbol. So it is possible to tell whether it's in the state play or paused, but sometimes when you're in the middle of doing it, it's a bit confusing. Anyway, what I want to do now is just summarize a few things, and then if anybody wants to ask questions, I can go into detail on that. You've got various options for doing time jump. You've got an automatic bookmark for where you leave off. You can add new bookmarks. You can speed the reading speed up. You can't change the voice if it's the audio, human recording. That voice is fixed, obviously it's a human voice. But I would like to say a little bit about EPUB, and that brings me back to search all. So if I went back to my search for books option in the side menu.
Mobile data, 4R4 search button.
And that wasn't quite right, because that would have been a long-winded method to get back to search. There's a search. I'm still in reading services. No, that's not quite true, actually.
Search field.
Yeah, I was right the first time. I need to make sure I'm in reading services. Yeah, it's always a little confusing that there are 2 searches. There's EasyReader search, Dolphin.
15 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes.
And there's
menu. RNIB Reading Services.
Right, so I need to go back into reading services and search in there.
RNIB Reading Services.
Now what I want to do is go to search all.
My latest category, search all. Show results loaded. The Martin Luther, the Circus Boys on the Flying Rings. Edgar Darlington, EPUB.
Okay, did you hear it say EPUB? EPUB. That's how it pronounces EPUB. So remember, I was saying that EPUB is a text version of a book, and it's an accessible text version. And EasyReader has its own text-to-speech voice built in. So even if you're not using VoiceOver, you can read the EPUB book using Dolphin's own built-in screen reader. And it's probably best to use that. I think Paul and Paresh can tell me otherwise. But although you would use VoiceOver to access the app and to be able to do tasks within the app, once you've got your book loaded, if it's EPUB and you wanted to use a screen reader, it probably makes sense to use the EasyReader voice. I dare say you've got the choice, but I think you'll get a more accurate reading. You know, it'll be simpler if you use the EasyReader text-to-speech. Could Paul or Paresh comment on that?
Yeah, Paul here. Probably, yeah, but that's the case. Yeah, and again, most of these EPUBs are from Bookshare or RNIB, but as Reading Services develops, we'll have much more content in EPUB format as well.
Right, I'll come back to EPUB if anybody wants to ask questions about it, but I'll just quickly explain about our categories list and also our latest list. So I think it's good to just cover the main options. So remember I said that we've got this page that's headed RNIB Reading Services.
RNIB Reading Services.
Okay, you might not be able to see that screen very well, but basically it's got reading services at the top, and then there are 4 options below the search field: my reading lists, latest, categories, and search all. Now I'm going to ask a volunteer, Paul, Paresh, or anyone else to explain my reading list. I think it's where you can save things for later, save favourites. Does anybody know? Because I haven't had a chance to find out.
Paul, do you want to?
I've never used it. So I asked a colleague earlier, but she hasn't replied. So my reading lists, I'm not quite sure what that's for. Mine's empty. So even though I've downloaded loads of books, but my reading list is empty.
It's an up and coming feature.
Thank you, Paul.
We have it available. It's essentially a what's it called? A wish list that you can add, and you can do that on the computer, but on Windows. But it doesn't yet sync across to EasyReader. But that's a feature we are working on for sometime in the future.
So Paul, is the idea that you're going to be able to go into the website, choose books in the website, put them into your wish list, and then it's going to synchronize with EasyReader? Is that the idea? No. Probably
that's the idea, but at the moment they're kind of two different systems. But we are looking at integrating it.
That would be great, wouldn't it?
So can't promise it, but that's the intention, I think, to be able to do that.
And just in case we run out of time, I just want to say I'm really excited about the introduction of the Amazon Alexa skill and later the Google Home skill, Google Nest. I'm getting to test, along with some other colleagues, I'm getting to test the Amazon skill soon, so I'm really looking forward to that. And we'll report back to you, see how it goes. So just quickly back to that list then, we're nearly done. So we've got four items altogether. My reading list is to be announced feature, that should be helpful for putting in your wish list. And then the next three are latest, categories, and search all. And I've covered search all. That's where you change it from searching for Daisy audio only, the default. Default is Daisy audio only, and search all will search the whole library for all titles. And if you don't put an author name or choose a category, it's going to give you just everything, just in a long list. Whereas if you go to categories, you can have search all, but you can also have categories. So I'll just go into categories. And there's also latest. So latest gives you our latest publications.
Button, book information. The Moon Sister, 7 Sisters, number 5, book information. Hawaii, a novel, book information. Macbeth, Cambridge School, Shakespeare. William, back button, back.
Okay, so latest is our latest titles. And categories, just really quickly, you've got animals, and then you've got, it's alphabetical obviously, so you've got animals, art, architecture, Australiana, biographies and memoirs, business, children's books, communication, computers, cooking, food and wine, disability related. And then if you keep going, it's similar sort of categories, non-fiction, biographies. And you've got crime is in mystery and thrillers. So if you're looking for crime, it's not under C for crime, it's under M for mysteries and thrillers. So the other thing that's at the top of the screen, I mentioned the side menu button and I mentioned the title, Reading Services. To the right is the log out button. So that logs you out of Reading Services. And then when you're back in the EasyReader app, when you're back at the main EasyReader section, where you just logged into Dolphin, there's another log out button and that logs you out of EasyReader Dolphin account. So always remember that you've got more than one login, depending on which library you're using. And be a bit careful logging out, make sure you know how to log back in before you log out.
Just to say, Jo, that both with your Dolphin account and Reading Services, you don't have to log out unless,
No, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying be careful, like don't log out unless there's a good reason. Yeah.
It will remember your login. If you don't use Reading Services for say a month or so, you might have to log in again. Yeah. Because there's a token that it uses to remember your details. But if you use it regularly, you shouldn't have to log in. Occasionally, for there may be a glitch and you have to log in again. But once you've logged in once, it'll remember, and you just click Reading Services and away you go.
Should we just quickly try and address the issue of the availability of books? Because a few people have commented on that and said that, it's quite hard if people have got to wait for a title, or especially if it's a child or a student needing a book for education purposes. And somebody was saying, wouldn't it be great if publishers would issue audiobooks, or the ability to make audiobooks straight away? But that's something that RNIB has tried to address and has had success in addressing, isn't it, Paul? So do you want to comment on our work with publishers? Are you able to?
Yeah, I mean, Can't really comment too much on Bookshare because that's a different service, if you like. But essentially, you know, the first book we got at the same time as it was available in print and audio was Harry Potter, the last book, the Deathly Hallows. Gosh, that was what, 13 years ago. But we are working to make books available pretty much at the same time as they're made available. The Mirror and Light from Hilary Mantel came out, I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks after it was available on Audible. But you know, as we work more closely with publishers, there's no reason why we shouldn't have books, you know, pretty much at exactly the same date as they're made available in other formats. So we're not quite there yet, but the intention is that, you know, books, and of course years ago you'd have to wait, you know, a year, 6 months, or even never to get a book available in Talking Books or in Braille. So, you know, it's getting better, not quite where we want to be yet, but you know, we are working with publishers to make that happen.
I believe that Penguin Random House has been very cooperative, don't they? Give us all the option to produce all their titles straight away. Yeah,
there's lots of publishers, HarperCollins, quite a lot of Audible content from Audible Studios. It's also a two-way kind of, you know, street as well. Sometimes we'll give our companies our books because they're you know, very professionally produced. And you know, it's great. We don't have to reinvent. If we also, you know, a book like The Mirror and the Light, for example, or you know, the David Cameron's autobiography that came out last year, you know, it means we don't have to re-record it because it's already been recorded. What we do is take it in, essentially we daisify it and then make it available on Talking Book and on reading services. So you know, it's really exciting. We're getting more books. We're working with more publishers. But you know, as I said earlier, any comments, good or bad, or you know, helpful, we want to hear from you because it helps us see what people are thinking and it helps us develop the service as well.
Quick question on, I think it's a publishing question, guys, if that's okay. It's just that a couple of clients who are using the service, I'm not sure if it's the actual online one or, you know, the memory sticks or what have you, but I think I'm right in what I've told them, but say like there's a big series of books. One client in particular was listening to a detective series, and just for example, you know, they got the first 5 books in the series in order, and then it seemed to jump to, you know, like book 9. Yep. So it was missing 6, 7 and 8. And what I said was, again, I think for some of them, you know, Audible have this issue as well. I'm assuming this is publishing issues. Am I right in saying that to clients?
It is. I mean, what can happen is authors can change publishers, you know, through a series, and then they don't make. They say, "Oh no, you can't have our books." And you know, I mean, I'm a user as well, and it's really frustrating. So, you know, sometimes we can get the book, sometimes we can't, and you know, it's purely down to copyright and publishers giving us permission. So it's not. We don't want you to read the books. It's just it's not possible. But I completely get the point myself. It's really frustrating. Yeah, you have with, you know, and sometimes you'll get books 1, 2, and 3, then 4 and 5 aren't available, then 6, 7, and 8 are. And that's even worse because. But we are trying to address that, and as I say, we're, you know, constantly talking to publishers to make them agree. Yeah.
Right. How are we doing for time, Sam?
Well, time technically has beaten us. It's been but there's been lots packed in today, but and there is, I know lots of people have asked questions which we're not unfortunately going to get a chance to answer. However, can we provide again, Jo, the email address if anybody does need sort of assistance or support with and I'll pop it into the chat box.
You've got 3 options. You've got helpline at rnib.org.uk, and that will be directed to the relevant team. You can contact RNIB about any subject, any sight loss related subject, including broader subjects that way. And if it's a techie question, it will be sent to us. If it's a reading service question, it'll be sent to Paul's team. But you can use our specific mailbox address, which is TFL Tango Foxtrot Lima at rnib.org.uk. And Paul, I've already given out your reading service mailbox address. I hope that's all right. So I'll just repeat it. It's reading services at readingservices.mailbox@rnib.org.uk.
Fantastic. That's great. We'll pop those into the chat box for everybody. Yes, so sorry if anybody, we've not managed to get round to answering your questions, but hopefully they were sort of answered as we were going along, because Jo and Paul and Paresh will be very good at sort of following the chats, the chat box as they've come through. So thank you for your patience. Thanks, Jo. I mean, yeah, you've had to work hard today, haven't you?
I've really enjoyed it.
Good.
I've absolutely loved Paul and Stuart and Paresh, joining in and assisting me so brilliantly. It's really great. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure, and it's great to get lots of questions, and some difficult ones, which is good. There's nothing worse than people just listening and not contributing. So thank you everyone for asking the questions, and yeah, it's been great working with all of you.
That's great.
And
thanks,
and
Paul.
as Paul says, that it is a developing service, so it will develop as time goes. So by all means, any feedback is always welcome. So yeah, we'll get there.
Definitely.
Thank you.
No, the more feedback, the better. It's been such a sort of interactive session, this one. Obviously, there's so much interest in this service, and I think it's such a really important resource at the moment, more than ever, isn't it? So it's fantastic. Thank you, Jo. Thank you, Paresh, and thank you, Paul, for your appearance as well. It's really great to have you. Good. Couple of little announcements before we wrap up from me and Stuart. So this is the AT Social Hub, and we will be back in 2 weeks' time. We're excited to have more guests. Me and Stuart get another week off. We've got Natasha and her team from Real Sam, who have developed a device called In Your Pocket, which is a fully voice-controlled mobile phone for the visually impaired, and that's called In Your Pocket, again, just so you can go off and research it. If you've not already heard of it, it is very popular, but they will be joining us, demonstrating and chatting all about their device, and that's in 2 weeks' time. That will be on Thursday, the 18th of February. Also, one more announcement. Next Wednesday, the 10th, is our other webinar platform, which is called the Wednesday webinar platform, and they will be joined by Pramit Bhagava, who is the founder of Louis Voice. I don't know if anybody's have come across this yet, but it's a really exciting app which allows you to control other apps and functionality on your smartphone purely by using your voice. Okay, so it's called Louis Voice. So go off and do some research and look into that. But it's really exciting. So yeah, our colleague Stuart will be joined next Wednesday on the 10th by Pramit Bhagava, who is the founder of Louis Voice. So we're excited to announce that as well. And all the registration details you can be found on our website. So please do check it out. Good stuff. All right. So that's all the plugs. Yes,
Can I
Jo?
just butt in? Sorry.
Yes, go for it.
In Your Pocket, I'm just going to quickly add, it follows on brilliantly from this talk today, because In Your Pocket, one of its prime purposes is to give people voice control access to RNIB Reading Services and RNIB Newsagent. And we haven't really had a chance to cover Newsagent today, but if anybody's got queries, just send them on to us. Yeah,
definitely. No, that wasn't a planned segue actually, but it's worked out very well. So In Your Pocket, it follows on nicely from this session. So lots to sort of to tie in with that, which is good. But yeah, as we've said, because time's beating us and you've got lots of questions, please do send them over to those email addresses that Jo's provided, or if you can't get in touch, send them through me and Stuart, and we'll send them on to Jo and the TFL team if we can. Great. Okay. Well, Stuart, thank you for joining me as always.
Pleasure as always, Sam.
Yeah, good. And thank you lastly to our guests today. It's been such a good session. Thanks so much.
You're really welcome.
Thank you for inviting.
It's been lovely. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Good stuff.
I've enjoyed it too. It's been great.
Cheers, Paul. No, it's been great to have you. So yeah, thanks everybody. We'll leave you there, but stay safe, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. And we'd love to have the RNIB back with us again at some point. So I'm sure you'll see them again very soon. All right.
Thank you.
There we go. Thanks, Stuart.
Thanks, guys. RNIB t-shirt.
Yeah, you've got to fly the flag. You've got to do it. Right. Take care, everybody. See you soon.
Thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Bye.